So we have 3 weeks of the 2018 NFL season in the books, and it's time for me to give you my post-Week 3 power rankings. Ooh. So that way all of you can take to the comments and disagree with me about your team or somebody else's team, and we can all have one big gripe fest, because that's what we love to do. And that's okay. This could be your safe place to do that. Keep in mind, since we're early on in the season with these power rankings, there's going to be a lot of variance and a lot of change up and down the board. It's just natural. We don't have a lot of history to go off of. So one game's result can have a much larger impact than it will a month, month and a half, 2 months from now. When you look at my biggest risers for week number 3, you look at the Saints. I bumped them up 12 spots. I give credit. The Cleveland win looks better. And they won a tough game on the road against the Falcons. You could say their defense isn't very good right now, and they most certainly aren't. But how much is that really going to matter at this particular point in time? This is a Saints team that made it to the final 4 teams in the NFC last year, returns a lot of those key players, and they still have Drew Brees. And they don't have Mark Ingram at the moment, so they're not at the best they possibly can be. But that victory over Atlanta was hard fought, offensive shootout, exciting stuff. They move up big, move up very big, as did the Redskins. Maybe I bumped them down a little too much after the loss to the Colts, but, I mean, they owned the Packers on Sunday. They got a little bit of a lead. AP controlled the ground game. The defense for the Redskins at front 7 did a nice job, and they're a solid team. How that'll play out throughout the course of the season remains to be seen, but they are a solid team, and I felt like they deserved a big bump up the rankings. When you look at the teams that dropped down big, the Minnesota Vikings dropped 12 spots, and that might be a bit of an overreaction, I admit that, but they got boat raced by a rookie quarterback coming off of a game where the previous week they had somebody on the Bills defense literally quit at halftime, and not just quit the team or retire from football. And they go in there and they boat race the Vikings. And now Everson Griffin's dealing with whatever issues he's dealing with, so who knows how long he's out. You look at this Vikings team and you're like, you didn't expect them to be 1-1-1, that's for damn sure. The Green Bay Packers. I mean, the reality is right now you're staring down the barrel of a not very good football team. Sure, they beat the Bears. It's frankly a game they should have lost. They tied the Vikings, and you could say whether they won or lost, they should have. And you could say that they just got beat flat out by the Redskins. You can talk about Clay Matthews and the ridiculous roughing the passer penalties, and that's all fair. But the fact is the Packers' defense isn't particularly good, and their offense is still kind of what it has been and is very heavily reliant upon Aaron Rodgers, and that's about it. They just aren't a good football team right now, and that loss in Week 3 was bad. Road game or not, it was bad, and they deserve to drop down. And then, of course, you got to look at the San Francisco 49ers. Already overhyped heading into the year. Now they've lost the guy that they were paying a crap ton of money to in Jimmy Garoppolo. Shit happens. Freak injury. Torn ACL. Out for the year. That should cool everybody's asses off a little bit. But now you basically say, without the hope and specter of Jimmy G as the starter for an entire season, the 49ers go back down to probably being one of the worst teams in the league. And it sure feels that way, doesn't it? Doesn't it? In terms of the rankings, like bottom 5, top 5, you really can make a strong argument for either the Oakland Raiders or the Arizona Cardinals being the worst team in the National Football League. And how funny is it that all this trash talk from some delusional Raiders fans talking about how after this trade, they made the trade with the Bears because they wanted a top 10 pick. Well, clearly they did, and they wanted it to be their own top 10 pick. Tell me how my ass tastes. But the reason they get a bump up over the Cardinals is at least they've been competitive in all 3 games, and they've been in all 3 games at least through the first half. It's the second half when teams have to make adjustments and the Raiders don't, and the Raiders' age starts to catch up with them, and their lack of a pass rush really starts to catch up with them. That really sinks them. But the Cardinals have none of that. Like, they stink and suck Bradford. There's an NFL team in 2018 that decided starting suck Bradford for 3 games was a good decision. That's the worst team in the league right now. I don't know that they'll finish the year as the worst team in the league, but they are right now. The Houston Texans 0-3. What in God's name is going on there? Dumpster Watson because he puts up his numbers in garbage time. Desham Watson because we were sold this bill of goods about how he was incredible and dynamic and he was going to be the for sure saver and franchise guy. The Texans are 0-3. They are 0-3. And it's rare that a team starts off 0-3 and makes the playoffs. There should be all types of worry and panic in Houston, and Bill O'Brien's job should clearly be on the line at this point. I've already talked about the 49ers, losing Jimmy G, already not maybe a good team. They get worse. And the Dallas Cowboys. You know, maybe Earl Thomas wants to play in Dallas in the future, but clearly the Cowboys offense didn't want to show up in Seattle on Sunday. How much longer can you stick with Jason Garrett? And it's going to get really, really uncomfortable if Dak continues to look as not good as he has so far. If the Cowboys go through this season, don't make the playoffs, and Dak continues to look like this, then all hell could break loose this upcoming season and in the 2019 NFL Draft. My top 5 teams. I got to give love to the Miami Dolphins. 3-0 is 3-0, and there are only 3 3-0 teams in the league, and they're one of them. You can say what you want, but 3-0 is 3-0. And for that, they deserve to be 5th on the list. Considering the number of teams that have lost and the way some of these teams have lost, the Dolphins have found ways to win games. Number 4, the Carolina Panthers. This is a really good 2-1 football team. Their one loss was a close loss to an Atlanta Falcons team that is better than their 1-2 record indicates, even with some of the injuries that they've had. This Carolina team is really good. Number 3, the Philadelphia Eagles. You've got Carson Wentz back. That's a boost. They're 2-1. They got to be feeling good about themselves. Number 2, the Kansas City Chiefs. Defense, my ass. Right now, they just outscoring everybody. They're boat racing everybody. Patrick Mahomes is looking like a godsend. He's looking like Showtime Magic, whatever the hell nickname you want to give him. We just need to make sure he has a good nickname, and we stick with it. But the Chiefs are outscoring everybody right now. Can that last? Will Mahomes continue to play at this level? Will there be some type of leveling off later on in the year? I don't know. Probably. But this Chiefs offense is really good. Defense, not so much. But they're outscoring the hell out of everybody, and they deserve that number 2 spot because that offense has been awesome. But number 1 right now still has to be the Los Angeles Rams. Another week, another victory. They're handling business like they're supposed to. Now, sure, you could talk about losing Aqib Talib for a while due to injury, Marcus Peters not being the healthiest. This is still a really good team, and that offense of the Rams is really, really good, and they've got some studs on the defensive side that maybe the Chiefs really don't. As of this moment, the Rams look to be the best, most complete team in the league. We're only 3 weeks in, and a lot can change. But right now, Goff looks like a stud. Gurley is Gurley. They've got some nice weapons on offense. They do a good job of protecting Goff. And defensively, they've got enough guys to make enough stops, and that's probably all they need to do. You can let me know your power rankings or who you think the best and worst teams in the league are in the comments section. Well, that's my thoughts. That's it. I'm done.